While this channel is focused on Nintendo, I really wanted to get my feelings out on why I think the PS4 and Xbox One are so unappealing at this point. This is also a topic a lot of you guys have wanted me to talk about, so I just decided, hey, what the heck, I'll go for it. So, aside from all the fancy features that the Xbox One and PS4 have, like Xbox Live and PS Plus, party chat, cross-game chat, all of that good stuff, the biggest issue for me is that actual game quality. What I've noticed is that third-party developers' game quality is dropping significantly, especially since 2010 and so on. And this has been reflected in the franchises that I actually like the most, which is the worst part. So, as many of you know, I was not the biggest fan of the Wii. I just didn't really like it that much. I liked the few exclusives the system had here and there, but the Xbox 360 was my favorite system in the 7th generation because it had the games that I liked the most. It seemed like it covered all the aspects. You had a good mix of Western games and you had a good mix of Japanese games, kind of a little bit of everything. And it fit my extreme passion for JRPGs and RPGs in general. However, things just seem to have gotten progressively worse from a third-party standpoint since 2010. And many of the games I loved on the PS3 and Xbox 360 have not replicated the success on those systems or even transferred over to the PS4 Xbox One gracefully. Let's just start off with a few franchises, and my favorite franchise of last generation, Mass Effect. Mass Effect 1, an amazing new IP in 2007. Mass Effect 2, absolutely redefined the Western shooter RPG hybrid in 2010. Then comes Mass Effect 3 in 2012. Somehow, EA and BioWare completely botched things up from a gameplay standpoint and from a story standpoint. Mass Effect 3 does do some things better than Mass Effect 2, but overall, I'm baffled that Mass Effect 2's combat, story, and controls are actually superior to Mass Effect 3. Another one of my favorite games of last generation, the Batman Arkham series. 2009's Batman Arkham Asylum, very innovative. Upstart studio Rocksteady literally gained superstardom overnight. 2 years later, we got Batman Arkham City and delivered the Batman game fans have been waiting for. Open world-ish, more weapons, combat options, challenges, improved story. It was phenomenal. Then here comes Batman Arkham Origins in 2013. The multiple pre-order DLC garbage, the glitchy, broken gameplay from a single-player standpoint, the horrible online multiplayer. On top of that, the exclusion of online multiplayer at all in the Wii U version, and then charging pretty much the same price, only docking $10 off. Should have been $29.99 without the multiplayer. But anyway, that's a video for another day. And seriously, the frame rate in that game. Aren't games supposed to be better, after years, not worse? And they're using the same engine. I know the game wasn't made by Rocksteady, but seriously, they had 2 games. Human Head Studios had 2 games to look at. And Ubisoft Montreal. I think Human Head Studios did the Wii U version, and Ubisoft Montreal did the PS3 and Xbox 360 version. But they had 2 games. They had the engine. How did they jack that one up? I really don't know. Castlevania Lords of Shadow. Oh, Jesus. Great game. Started out great. Sure, it had its faults, but it was generally a solid action game with an amazing story. And then 2014's Castlevania Lords of Shadow 2 came out. So much failure. I waited 4 years for this? And add insult to injury, the Mirror of Fate game on the 3DS sucked. Konami can't do anything right but freaking Metal Gear. Which they can't even do that completely right because Kojima's team jacked up Metal Gear Rising and had to hand it off to Platinum Games to save it. It's freaking pathetic. The list can go on. I mean, seriously, these aren't the only ones. Dead Space 3, Madden, COD. It seems like a lot of third-party franchises have just got progressively worse. It doesn't help that all these games are overhyped to death, and then they don't live up to any of it. For instance, Thief, Watch Dogs, and that broken piece of crap Battlefield 4. All super hyped, didn't live up to any of it. Glitches, problems, all sorts of issues. In addition to all that I've just said, where the hell are the Japanese games at? Last generation, we got tons of Japanese titles early in the lifespan, or we heard about them well ahead of time. Blue Dragon, Eternal Sonata, Lost Odyssey, Star Ocean 4, and Tales of Vesperia. Overall, it just seems like third-party developers have either not made the games that I want or messed up the franchises I like the most. Third-party developers want to make every game overly cinematic or loaded with QuickTime events and tacked on multiplayer. only to wait a year to sell you the same game with a slight graphical upgrade at full price or nearly full price? I love 2011's Skyrim. So instead of getting another one, we get 2014's crappy MMO The Elder Scrolls Online. No, Bethesda, you can keep your monthly fees and half-baked MMO. Fallout has been MIA since 2008. Hopefully we get something soon from that franchise. I mainly play games on my 3DS and Wii U because it seems like games from Nintendo come complete and packed full of content without nickel and diming me with DLC all the time or fees to play online with my friends. Games like Pokemon X and Y, Fire Emblem Awakening, Shin Megami Tensei 4, The Legend of Zelda: Link Between Worlds easily pack as just as much content, if not more, than most big budget third-party games. The Wii U and 3DS are by no means perfect, and I still want Nintendo to do a lot of things. But when it comes down to it, the 3DS and Wii U offer me the most variety and bang for my buck. I've lost count of how many great quality 3DS games there are. And the Wii U is really coming on its own with games like Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, Mario Kart 8, Super Smash Bros., Bayonetta 2, and Hyrule Warriors all in 2014. Even games like The Wonderful 101 and Pikmin 3 are so unique. These type of experiences you can only get on a Nintendo system. I also want to add to the topic that this doesn't really pertain to third-party indie developers, as they've been making a bunch of great games at good cost with amazing value. Shovel Knight and Armillo are proof of that alone. I still have hope that the PS4 and Xbox One will turn things around from a game standpoint, but the way third-party developers and publishers have been making games, it doesn't really give me hope. So anyway, thanks for watching, and try to keep the ass herdery to a minimum in the comment section, please. This is my opinion after all. Make sure to like the video if you did. It really helps to spread the content of Player Essence on the web. Subscribe if you're someone new. You'll get a range of videos on PE Nintendo, from Let's Plays to specialized game shows. Thanks a lot, and we will see you guys for the next video. Peace.